Hello and welcome to this video on Filr administration and using the built-in client branding that we've got there. My name's Robin Redgrave. I'm a solutions consultant based out of the UK. So what we're going to cover today is the three types of branding that we can set within the Filr administration, which is for the web client, the desktop clients, the Windows and Mac desktop, and the mobile client, so that's the iOS and Android clients. Let's first have a look at the built-in client branding for the web interface, and this just allows us to change three things on the UI. We can put in a company name, put in a company logo and a background image. There are some recommendations for the size of those images, but you don't actually need to stick to those if you have an image of a different size, though obviously it's best if you do. Let's just have a look at how you set that. So here I've got a filer with the basic default branding that we've got coming through. Let me just log in here as the administrator, put in my password, and then we're just going to go through to the administration console. And right down at the bottom here I have the option for custom branding. So if I take that option, and we've got the web branding here, we do have the desktop and mobile branding we'll come on to in a moment. If I just enable that web client branding, I can put in a company name, so let's just call it Digital Airlines. I can get a company logo, so here I've got a logo image, and don't forget to apply it afterwards. Make sure that it's been applied, and I'm just going to grab my background image here and apply that. Let's just come out and log out again and just see how that looks. So now you can see I've got the background image here, I've got the logo coming through here, and the name of the organization across here. So that's the web-based branding, which hopefully most of you have found already, and you've got that option with Filr Advanced as well as the Filr Basic Edition. Now the next two branding options, the desktop and the mobile, are only available if you have the Filr Advanced license. So we do have the option to brand the desktop client, and this is both the Windows and the Mac desktop. We need to have three images here: the about, the console header and the login header PNG files. And there's also a XML file there called Filr Branding XML, which allows us to specify what the company name is and do a little bit of colors as well if you wanted to within the client there. So let's just have a look at how we put this together. Here I've got my three images: the about, the console header, the login header, and if we just have a look at this, you can see I've got XML file with the company name and some colors being specified there. So to use this, I just need to take those four files and zip those up. So here, let me just add them to the zip file there, and we've created that. Make sure that you don't actually zip up the directory with them in. They need to be in the root of the zip file, so I've got that there. Let's just go and set that branding. So in this instance, I'm just going to take the desktop site branding, and I can specify Mac branding file, which is much the same. So let's just select our branding. So let's just select that zip file I had before. Let's just click on apply and say OK. Let's just see what that's done for my desktop client. So down here, if I take the option to log into Filr, you can see I've got the default branding there. I just log in. What's going to happen is that will prompt me to restart Filr because the administrator has customized it. So let's just say OK. And let's just show you what's happened there. So notice here it says about Digital Airlines Filr. And let's just log out here so you can see what the login page now looks like. So if I do a login, you can see here that I've got that branding across there. And then if I just go to the Filr console, for instance, I've got that other logo across the top here. So you can see we're pushing down that name we had in the XML file, and indeed I could push down some of the colors that are being used here as well. So hopefully that's shown you how we can control the desktop client and push down your corporate branding to that. Let's just have a look at the mobile client. So for the mobile client, this is a bit more complex than the desktop clients because we have different sized screens, so we need to have different sized images that we're using with those, and these are different for both iOS and for Android. So we'll have a look at both of those, and we'll just have a look at how that looks like when we push it down to the iPad, an iOS device there. So let's just have a look at how we build this up. So let's just go and have a look at my iOS setup. So here I have 3 images for each graphic that I'm using, and those are 3 different sizes, getting the resolution getting higher and higher for each of those 3 images. So this is used if I've got an iPhone that's vertical, an iPhone that's horizontal, an iPad that's horizontal or vertical, different size screens. So I've got different sized graphics that I can use for those. And in that Filr branding XML file, I have a few more options than we had on the desktop side. So here I can specify different colors that are used for different bits and pieces within the mobile client. That's again, I need to make sure that I'm not zipping up the directory, I'm zipping up the contents of the directory. So here, let's just go and make that into a zip file, and I've got that come through there, and let's just go and apply that. So here I'll go to the mobile branding, let's just browse for that zip file in the iOS area, apply that. So let's just have a look at how that looks like on the iOS device. So here I can see the default branding. If we just log in, then it should pick up the new branding that we've just set. And if I just sign out, there we go, you can see that new branding now coming down. Let me just log in here, and you'll see some of the changes elsewhere. If I come here, you can see I've got the graphic coming through there, and indeed if I go to some of the settings pages, you can see some of the colors I set coming down here as well. And if I go to about, you can see graphics coming through there and so on. So you can push down your corporate branding to that iOS device. Let's now just have a look at how we do it for Android devices. So here, let me just have a look at my Android. So this is a little bit different in that I still have that XML file that I can set various colors in if I wanted to, but I have a number of subfolders to this. So each of these subfolders has 3 graphics in, and these need to be called the same for each subfolder, and these are for different resolutions, each of these. So some will have that's extra high, medium, low, and a drawable. That one will just use those if there's no other graphics available. in there. Again, I need to take the contents of that and make that into a zip file, and then use that zip file within the branding options that we had before. I'd set that in the Android branding file here. So I just pull that through there and apply that. I haven't got an Android to show you what that looks like, but it's much the same as you saw on the iOS device that I was showing you before. So if you have a look at the maintenance best practice guide, I think starting on page 17, is it in here? Yeah, there we go. Branding and changing the user interface. So here we've got what graphics to use, what size they are, and what needs to be in that file of branding XML file for each of those different clients. You can see here that we've got what sizes are being used for each of those directories, for instance, that we had in the Android side of things, and so on. There are links in here to sample files. I did put them in my presentation that we saw earlier. Hopefully that's explained a little bit about how you can make up your corporate branding. I hope you found this video useful. Thank you for listening.